Hello there, and welcome to the Marketing SOS Show. I'm your host, Eric Yee, and on the Marketing SOS Show, each and every week, I take questions from people like you, listeners like you, who have an issue, a problem, or want some advice, or just an idea to bounce off me in the realms of business and marketing, and I'm more than happy to help. So if you have a question, and you would love to be featured in an upcoming episode of the show, drop me a line at eric@marketingsos.ca. I'll be sure to get back to you, and I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to help. Just like this week, I'm going to be helping Theo, who has a problem that is something near and dear to my heart. I don't know why I like this subject so much, but it's all about process and workflow optimization, making sure things are running smoothly, and that things are just kind of like plug and play, and that nothing should ever derail a process. And saying that out loud, I'm kind of smiling because I know how that's not true. There's always something that's going to take things off course. But it's all about putting a framework up, putting bumpers on the lane, if you will, to keep things on track as much as possible, and to keep everything happy, productive, and moving forward. So let's hear from Theo just after this. So Theo writes, "Hi Eric. I work for an in-house marketing team at a fairly large company. We do all the marketing and creative for several different lines of business and internal brands. Our team is unfortunately a bit of a mess. We have a process that is unclear that we don't follow because a lot of our requests are urgent and could cost the company money. On top of this, we are usually late with delivering our work. There's a lot of different projects on the go that many of them get lost, or newer, more important projects push some of the old ones down. Most other departments do not like our marketing team and speak poorly of us. How would you go about fixing this? Thank you for any advice you have, Theo." Well, Theo, I can definitely help you with this. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, I love this stuff. Now, the one thing I will say is that you mentioned that your workflow or process is unclear. Well, it is time to clear it up. Everyone should know your process. Now, you should have one process that you've outlined for your internal team so that they know what they're doing, what one thing flows to the next, but then also educate your clients, those people from other departments, of what the process is. You need to get this cleared up. Maybe make a task force that looks at optimizing this workflow process or being responsible for it and enforcing it. Now, you are in a tough spot. I get it. The requests will never stop. You're just going with passable work to get things out the door to keep up with the demands of the business. I've been there. I totally get it. It's not a fun place to be. You're just running around with your hair on fire at all times until you clock out for the day. And then you're up at 11 p.m. at night thinking about it, thinking about work before you go to bed. Now, one thing I would ask that I think is the default response to situations like this, and may not be the best answer for you, but can you hire additional roles on the team to help with the workload? That is always what the default solution is. Like I said, it may not be the optimal one, though. It may not actually be what you need to fix this. So look at that. Do you need to hire anyone else? And if not, is it possible to outsource any work to a freelancer or agency? Now, even if that's not a long-term solution, even if you're just doing it for the short term while you get everything else back on track, look at using it as a flex option. Now, for all these different internal brands, do you have brand standards? You know, the fonts, the logos, the way you communicate, all these things, the visual imagery. Do you have these set up? If not, it'd be a good time to step back and do it. So that way you're not reinventing the wheel every time. Now, where possible, look at different templates that you have to help guide junior designers or junior marketers on how to do their job, so you don't have to always touch every single thing. Your team sounds very reactive. If you didn't have any requests from within the company, what would you be doing? How proactive are you at anticipating the volumes of work and planning for them? The answer here is to take some time away from the busy work and projects and sit and plan on how to fix this and get ahead. Now, I know you have no time. You are too busy. Your team is always too busy, but you need to sit and fix this. There's a saying in the startup world or the entrepreneurs is you need to stop working in your business and work on your business. Stop being the hamster on that wheel and step back and actually look at whether, hey, is that wheel that we're running on getting us the results we want? Or should we build a better wheel, build a bigger wheel, or maybe just escape this hamster cage altogether? Now that's a different story, so we're not going to get to that one. But you need to develop a quarterly or annual plans with each other business units so that you can be properly prepared ahead of time. It might take a while to do this. Start tracking everything being done now, or get your project manager, if you have one, hopefully. If you don't have a project manager, get one to do this. Track everything for the next year and start to see where each business's requests ebb and flow, see where they peak and what type of requests you get. This won't cover everything, but it will help you plan better for the next year or the next quarter. Put proactive meetings on the book with these business units. Whether they're weekly, quarterly, or monthly, they need to be frequent. Get ahead of the ad hoc requests that you have coming in and start to find out what's important to these teams and what might be coming down the pipeline for you. A few days or weeks of advance notice may help you get a few extra days of production time you need. Now, revisit and explore your current processes and try desperately to get new clients slotted into them and following it. Get a small group together, this task force I mentioned earlier, whatever you want to call it, to explore and reevaluate how this process is working and how to tweak it going forward. Now we have our main process, but also develop a process for ad hoc requests. They will always be a thing despite your best efforts. Now this is probably going to be like a shorter version of your longer term process with less back and forth with other teams. Now lastly, Theo, question that I have for you is, how are you tracking requests and how do you lose them? You need a tool to track all outstanding jobs, whether it is a software tool like Basecamp or Monday.com, or even just a whiteboard in your office outlining all outstanding work and where things are at in your process. Something everyone has access to and can read and see readily. Now this is going to take time. It's going to be tough and painful in the short run, but in the long run, it'll be super helpful to step back and work on how your department operates. You need to get through several months of hardship doing this, but it'll be worth it in the long run. So Theo, thank you so much for the question, and thank you for allowing me to address this, because I see this across all companies that I've ever worked for or worked with, is that there's a lot of people that are just hanging on. They're working hard, but they're not necessarily working smart, or they're not working in the best way. So for everyone else out there listening, I know I may preach this quite a bit, but step back for a day. Go off-site with your team. Explore from different angles how things are working, how you want them to run, and then actively work towards it. Now, I know it's easier said than done, and you might have that first meeting, and then the day-to-day catches up with you, but book meetings for yourself and those people, and actually work towards this goal. It is the number one way to make your life easier and to start being more proactive instead of reactive in your business or on your teams. This is not where you want to work from. You want to work from a place where you have breathing room and time to think. You don't want to be reactive, because when you're just reacting, you're not growing the business the way it needs to grow. You're just reacting and putting out fires. Now, I'm not a firefighter, but at work I put out a lot of fires. So believe me, work on this. It'll help in the long run. Now, what would actually help me a lot is a ratings and review in whatever podcast app or wherever you're listening to podcasts. It would truly help me grow the show. And in return, I would love to get your questions and help you. At eric@marketingsos.ca, I am here for you. And I would love to answer your question on an upcoming episode of the show. So if you leave me a review, I would love it, and I will help you regardless of whether you send me a review or not. So thank you in advance for that. Until next time, my name is Eric Key. Thank you so much for listening, and I am out.